How long have I been stalking you for?
To be honest with you, I think you caught the first time you messaged me. Was it on LinkedIn?
It's always on LinkedIn. Welcome to the sofa, Paulo Salomao, founder of The Or.
Yep.
Who are a sister agency of Mother.
Yes, exactly.
And you've also, and I'm delighted to say, made me a delicious drink. Talk me through this.
Where do I start? One, it's good for you.
Okay.
Two, it's what I drink in the mornings. A bit of water, a bit of ginger. So I feel like it's like working a treat. You're not going to like it. No.
It's not as bad as you talked up, actually.
Well,
you're telling me it's good for me.
You've got half a measure in there, so it can be a bit stronger. My wife loves her health and nutrition, so we're doing stuff like that all the time to try and just optimize the body and mind.
Good for you, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to drink a margarita after this. Right. What does after work mean to you?
Reset time. I think I'm constantly in two modes at work. I'm sort of reflecting on the past and things that just happened and how to solve them. And I'm always in the future trying to figure out where to kind of like go next, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line. And I just need some time to just be present again, to be honest with you. And so there is a really important thing for me to sort of do that so that when I do that splitting again, my perspective is always a bit different.
Yeah.
And I can just look at it a bit freshly again, get into sort of flow states where I'm just back into my body and then I can go again at work.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Did you have to teach yourself? How to do all of that?
Yeah. I mean, I was never doing it before.
Yeah.
Until I was told I really have to, because I was like a sort of personal thing happened. It was a really bad moment in my life. And I sort of learnt some tools like that one that have just made me so much fitter mentally and physically.
My hope is that we don't always have to get to breaking point before we do this stuff.
Yeah.
Like it would be amazing if we could teach everybody how to not work like you and I did.
Yeah.
So let's talk about The Or. The Or was founded in 2020.
Yeah.
Get that right. So about 5 years in, and it's an offshoot of Mother.
Yeah.
So Mother support and invest in a number of businesses, is that right?
100%, yeah.
Okay, and how did that come about that you were working at Mother and then you decided to open The Or?
Mother's very entrepreneurial. I think from the outside when I was looking in, it was one of the things that you look at and go, God, I'd love to peep in there and see how it all works. So the opportunity to be able to sort of do that with them was massive for me. The reality is, like, we started mainly because of a belief, I guess, that comes from Mother right from within, which is it's one of very, very, very few places that really believes in independence and independence in the marketplace and feels like the industry is better when independent creative shops are around. They're still a very sought after thing for brands and businesses, and we're seeing lots of them getting sold and lots of them sort of merging, whatever it might be. And I guess they sort of saw an opportunity to sort of start a sister shop that would always stay independent, that can kind of like help with what independence does, I suppose, for the industry. And it started there. And it also started with people like myself that it wanted in the shop to push that vision forwards, I guess.
And you said to me that picking sort of founders of an agency or people you want to start something with, it's not formulaic, is it?
I really believe in not hiring people that are like me. I feel like the things that I've been proudest of in my career, or especially the work that I've been proudest of, has been because of quite different thinkers getting around and finding a synergy. And so it's a really hard thing to sort of do, but I think when you do have people that have got slightly different sort of like styles of thinking, it can result in something pretty magical.
It's like you said to me the other day, don't hire mini-me's.
Yeah.
Because they're all going to say a similar thing to you and act like you and talk like you.
Yeah.
What you want is people who you can shine a spotlight on and develop. Is that right?
100%. Yeah.
Who aren't that similar mold.
Yeah, definitely that. I feel like I've learnt the most almost from people that are nothing like me, because I've all of a sudden gone, oh my God, they're just saying stuff I don't actually understand and I really want to understand it now. Or they've looked at a problem really differently to me and I've just taken mental note and gone, I'm going to think like that next time. And how is that even possible if I've just got 5 people in a room that have all answered the problem the same way?
Yeah.
I like to know that I'm not perfect and that I've got flaws and blind spots. That's the biggest thing for me, because I think when that happens, you want other people around you to think in a way that you can't think. Either you believe that or you actually secretly think you're perfect. I just don't think I'm perfect. And I think that allows me to want people around me and I want to listen to them and I want to like see if I can learn out of the way that they're thinking because it's different to mine. But it's just because I'm never going to think that about myself.
So how is the org structured to deliver on made to order creativity?
I'd say it's almost like more of a belief actually than it is even just, it is an operational way of working, but the belief of it starts with, especially when you're trying to be a creatively minded agency, often you're very, very obsessed with the sort of endpoints, right? You're obsessed with like the work comes first, all of that stuff. And I think that's super important. I guess our belief is that if we put all that obsession and energy into the very beginning of the process, and like our ears are so open that we get to sort of shape the brief with you, put the right team casting together, do a process that hasn't really been thought out before, all of those things, like there's a lot of sweat and guts that goes into the very beginning. That endpoint's going to happen. And if we get that really right and we like sweat all the details at the start of the process, that thing at the end is going to be amazing.
But that's very clever. That's more about relationships, right?
Yeah.
You said the other day you want clients to want to be in a room with you.
Yeah.
And to, talk about the brief and to enjoy the process.
I think the best work comes from the environment that you've created around a relationship and around the way a client and an agency are working together. I think if you can kind of put a lot of effort into understanding how a client works and thinks and what is going to get the best out of them in the relationship, and hopefully they're also of the inclination that they want the same from an agency, you would actually structure each of your accounts differently each time. Because someone really wants to be physically in the company of the agency, or it's something to do with geography, or it's a style in which you present, or it's to do with going out and visiting things in the industry so you're both inspired at the same time. There's honestly a trillion different ways of doing it. But if each thing should be styled slightly differently so that the client wants to be in your company all the time and is so excited by the thinking that you give them. But if you just do it the same way each time, it might work, but it's not. You're almost sort of saying to them, like, accept our style like of working versus us listening to them and then going, okay, we're going to adapt things a little bit so that you're just like pumped up every time that we're interacting with each other. And I love that bit of it. I like it when people are proactively telling me stuff where they're starting to think like that. Because I'm like, look, you're on the road to greatness here. Because you're thinking in a way that will genuinely result in amazing work and an amazing collaboration.
But our brains like to keep it fresh anyway, don't we?
Sort of. I wouldn't say everyone.
Oh my God, I love it. Just love it. Love new stuff. That's why I do these in 10 minutes, right? This is going to embarrass you. You ready? I ask a few people about you before I bring you in for the interview.
Yeah.
And nicest man in advertising has come up a lot.
I've seen that on LinkedIn. That's quite annoying. I didn't pay them, I promise you.
I've never seen him lose his temper. He is genuinely the nicest man, super authentic. Is that true?
I think it's not about being the nicest. I think it's just the fact that I do want to make sure that I'm listening the whole time and, trying to give people time, because I do want them to sort of shine brightly and I want them to sort of be at their best in the workplace. Means that I will ensure that I'm accessible and available for people.
But
I think it's that maybe.
It could turn into like listening all the time.
Yeah.
So how do you set boundaries?
I think that actually came from some training I did quite a long time ago, that I think when you sort of do bias training, where you sort of know what you're really good at, but it means that there can be a polar weakness from it. And so I think I just learned through the training that actually it's a really good thing to do, and it can carve out your leadership style, but it can then result in you wanting to listen to everyone, and it can then result in slow decision making. So I think the biggest thing for me is that I'm really aware of what that weakness is, what the Achilles heel is to the strength.
Yeah.
It's important for everyone to know that whatever they're really good at, there's always a polar weakness to it that you've just got to be super aware of, and it just keeps you like sort of sane, and you can avoid it actually quite easily once you're aware.
So back to you listening, I had a boss who liked to listen too. And what that meant is I just wanged on a lot. I'm just warning you that there are people who are like, oh, I get you. You like to listen and I like to talk. So I'm just going to keep going and I'm going to grab you whenever I can.
Yeah.
So I do think it is good to set those boundaries.
It's funny doing walks around the block with a coffee.
Right. Final questions.
Yeah.
What's your biggest professional mistake?
There was a particular incident pretty early on where we got going on a project without, getting all of the paperwork totally sort of signed just because of eagerness, and it came to bite us on the arse. I've probably learnt a little bit about, like, even if you are like so eager to get out the blocks on something that you've just won, sometimes you just got, it's up to you to be the one that's a little bit sensible about the exposure that you're giving yourself by just flying out with nothing agreed. I learnt that the hard way.
There's a reason there's an order to the process, right? Damn it. What keeps you up at night?
Kids football team. Straight away, I've got 57 kids under my wing that I have to figure out football drills and organise referees and all sorts. And so I finish work and sometimes I've got, over 100 WhatsApps. I love it, but not on WhatsApp. I love it on the pitch.
Yeah, I got you. The admin side of it is too much.
It's hectic.
What's the best piece of advice you could give someone about to start their career in advertising?
Risk aversion is big. You can sometimes sort of feel like the job is to just be responsive and, someone asks you to do something, you just kind of like do it. I think stick your neck out, put yourself into places, ask questions if you don't understand it. All of these things are small bits of risk, but they actually grow you much, much quicker. And so I would almost sort of encourage you, no one's ever going to judge you for being a person that's tried a thing or asked that kind of like question or asked to be somewhere where they sort of like feel a bit uncomfortable because you're hungry and you're trying to sort of grow. Like progression and learning that's the most valuable thing you can kind of do when you're young. And so try your best to accelerate that by taking some leaps.
Finish the sentence. If I wasn't in advertising, I would be
own a festival. Start a festival from scratch.
Could you still do that anyway?
Maybe.
That'd be great.
I would like to do it.
Do it?
Yeah.
Don't be so risk adverse. Done. Mate, that was it. Thank you so much.
Love that.
This was actually delicious.
Yes, thank you.
I kept drinking it. I want you to notice that. It's really good. I'm going to start having it.
See if you feel better today in general.
Oh, okay.